Ronnie and David, it's so great to be with you to celebrate our 10th anniversary this year. Wow, it's unbelievable to think that it was 10 years ago when the three of us decided to set up social finance in the United States, and pretty unusual nonprofit working at the intersection of finance, policy, and social change to think about how to put capital to work in service of society.
I agree, Tracy, and I remember the conversations that David and I had about opening Social Finance US. And I think it's fair to say, David, that probably 50% of the people involved thought that it was a big step too early. And you and I were convinced that it was absolutely the right thing to do. And it's turned out to be the case because under your leadership, Tracy, you've covered so much ground in 10 years. You've brought a scale to social impact bonds that doesn't exist elsewhere.
When you are able to look at a milestone like this and sit back and say, well, what have we accomplished? I think we can say an awful lot. I remember actually three different beginnings to this journey. The first one was you and Ronnie were together and you called me. And
we were driving.
Is that right? Well, I was on the streets of New York City and I get this call from you two, and basically Ronnie was saying, it's time that we have a Social Finance US. Do you agree? And you never say no to Sir Ronnie. And I said, well, of course I agree. And he said, are you in? I said, yes, I'm in. And that was how it started.
I think it was at the end of 2010 when we decided to create social finance in the US, because our great colleagues in the UK had just launched the social impact bond in Peterborough, and American policymakers were incredibly excited about this very novel tool. We knew from the beginning when we set up social finance that we have to engage policymakers. And Ronnie, I remember running around with you in the old executive office building, circa 2011, 12, 13, meeting with the White House Office of Social Innovation, with the National Economic Council. And the SIP tool back then really resonated with them. And it sustained this kind of bipartisan broad appeal. Not least, we've been very proud to have had a hand in shaping an important piece of federal legislation, both sides of the aisle broadly embraced, called CIPRA, the Social Impact Partnerships to Pay for Results Act. And the Pay for Success movement was very much bolstered during the Obama administration. And it's really exciting to see that many of those ideas around Pay for Success were infused in almost every federal agency, as well as among states and local governments.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we all shared at the time was excitement about this new way of looking at finance. We hadn't appreciated quite as much as we do today, had we? That this road of impact investment, where you try to optimize risk, return, and impact, be it through your investments at Generation, David, or through social finances activities, and that's major. That's really shifting the goalposts for the whole of our economic and financial system.
But I think that our position in this now broad industry and ecosystem has stayed the same, despite the fact that the team has grown, the portfolio of products have grown. I remember 10 years ago, and it remains a big debate today, are these tools market rate? Are these tools, providing concessionary returns? And we're like, we don't care. We're agnostic. We start with every financing with what impact we want to achieve. How are we going to measure it? How are we going to know that we've achieved it? And then the financial structure falls. And whether it's market rate or concessionary, it's the second order effect.
It's that drive, that mission, the passion around impact, and again, innovation in solving problems, and doing so in a way that is about collaboration and bringing other parties together has been a critical component, really the secret sauce of what it is that we're trying to do. The products, the ideas of finance, et cetera, those are skills that we bring, but it's the the passion and the commitment that has been special.
And I've always believed that when you get a team like social finance that does things not just for itself, but for a greater mission, as you were saying, David, the passion that you release is remarkably powerful.
Yes, it's passion. Yes, it's ambition, but also it's a deep sense of humility. We haven't figured it all out, and the work has been incredibly hard, and we still don't know what we don't know. And like anything worth pursuing in life, there's often tensions and trade-offs, and especially when you work on financial innovation. And we know from history that unbridled financial innovation can go awry. And as we build these tools and we address these trade-offs, how do we just make sure that impact stays at the center?
The evolution of impact as a driving force of capital allocation is just beginning. The whole concept of how we're allocating capital as governments and as businesses, that is changing even as we speak, and it must change if we're going to drive to a cleaner, fair, safe, healthy economy that is no carbon. We have to do those things. We have to consider impact. No longer can we have externalities that are not measured.
It's incredibly exciting to think about the time that we're in. It's almost like the golden age of impact, and to be able to work with a broad array of stakeholders in this field, from philanthropy to financial institutions and others in the investment community, to traditional nonprofit service delivery partners, social enterprises, large and small corporations, policymakers, academic partners. I want to thank all our partners for believing in our work to accelerate social change. We couldn't be here today without you, and we cannot wait to advance our mission with you in the next decade.
Thanks to you, Tracy, and the whole social finance team and the social finance board, and all those who have supported us financially throughout this first decade. A huge thanks to you and all the social finance team. You make me feel extremely proud by all that you have achieved in improving lives.
I am so grateful to you both, to call you my co-founders, mentors, and partners in this audacious journey together. Thank you, thank you, thank you.